This is LTV.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank, create success, enterprisebanking.com.
Hello and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarola, Mayor, and we're live this afternoon on this, it almost seemed like the sun was going to come out today. Did you notice that? Have you looked outside at all? All of a sudden around 2 o'clock, 1:30, it looked like, wow, the sun's coming out. Now, we're back to a little cloudy, but it's supposed to get nice out tomorrow. And we'll see the sun, and we'll see great temperatures. And speaking of greatness, let's go right to the Art Report. Art, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you?
A little, a little rushed this afternoon, but good.
Well, I couldn't help but notice this, born and raised in Leominster, North Main Street. So I've been around for a while and been getting out and about. The feel of our little town, it has grown, but it's like a little village if you really take a look at it. Coming down Mechanic Street from the hill by Gold Farm, we go by the Roberge display, which he gave his life for our country.
Yep.
But it's quaint and quiet. It's next to a river. You come in from North Main Street, and you're looking at steeples. We've got churches surrounding our town. And it's almost, we're being watched over. But and coming up Mechanic Street, I never realized until this week that there are 2 steeples on that church.
Yes.
I thought there was just a big one on the front, but there's also one in the backside.
That's correct.
I never saw that before.
Yeah. If you watch the beginning, you can watch, they have services online, and at the beginning they have a drone shot of the whole church. You can see it at the very beginning. It's pretty cool.
And then, let's not forget, I think one of the classic little signs that make you think back of the olden days, which haven't changed for these people, is the Amish buggy down at the entrance of 190.
Yeah, I think I got to get a new one. He's getting a little.
I think it. And I was looking at it, and I was saying, can you imagine that's their transportation?
Yep.
And they didn't have to pull up and get $4 a gallon for gas. They'd get a bucket of oats and some hay,
and they still do.
It's got a nice feel to it as a small town, even though it has grown by leaps and bounds. We've been able to maintain that, and now with the changes going on downtown. In the park there, that's going to make it even more like that.
It is. We'll be able to hold more events down there. They don't have to be huge events.
Yeah.
Somebody wants a small get-together, small pop-up event, easy. Yes.
And the sidewalk eateries in the square with the brook coming down through. I mean, it's just... She hasn't lost it.
No.
She hasn't lost it, and I think that's a testament to your reign, because you've maintained that and added to it as well.
Well, thank you.
And for that, I thank you.
We have a great team, as I say.
Oh, there's no question about it. No question about it. It's a joy. At one time, you used to hate to go to the registry to get your license renewed, but I think that even tempo has changed a bit. And City Hall, that's just beyond the people there, and they don't forget who you are either.
No, and somebody paid us a great compliment this about 2 weeks ago. They said, you know what, you guys actually try, City Hall, the people at work, we actually try to help people. And I said, well, of course, that's what we're supposed to do. That's not like a value-added approach to it. That's what we're supposed to do.
It's not like you're going to get a tooth pulled.
No.
And I got nothing against dentists.
No.
But and I can speak clearly. I had a major loss in my life a month and a half ago, and recently went to pay my excise tax bill, and the young lady not only remembered me, but she consoled me, and she told me she felt bad for me and to keep my chin up. And people don't do that in other towns and cities where they work for the cities. It's a home feel, and they put their emotions with their job, and that's wonderful.
Well, it's good to hear, right?
Because I went and sat in the car after, and I took a deep breath, and I said, you know what, that's wonderful. And I know somebody that was smiling when she heard that as well, but we got to keep it up as we're going, and I know we will with you in steering the mothership Lemon Town. Yes, sir, it sure is.
Focus and
you got my support. And it's golf season, baby.
I know.
They're opening up in a week, I believe.
Yeah, amazing, huh?
Yep. They played it. There were guys playing today at yesterday at Manusnacht.
Wow, it's kind of wet.
No, the day before. I'm sorry. It was just recently, 3 days ago.
It doesn't take long to dry out up there.
They were, well, you know what? Someone mentioned, geez, it must have been wet, and they said, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it drains down.
I know they did some digging up and some work over there with drainage, et cetera.
Yeah.
But, yesterday I saw there was a couple of guys coming down. Wasn't mobbed or anything, but...
Oh, hey, it's March.
But I think it's the earliest for Gardner. I saw they sent me a memo today.
March 6th, it's crazy. It's March 7th today, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
my backyard is a swimming pool.
Ooh.
But
Well,
anyway, that's all we got today.
Good to talk to you. Be well.
Me will. Tomorrow's grocery day.
Oh, geez. All right. Good luck.
That's 9 bags of Twinkies and a pound of hamburger.
Good luck.
See you later.
All right. Be well. 978-534-1626. We're live this afternoon, March 7th. You could catch us on a repeat. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're coming back with a guest, Sheriff Lou Evangelidis, and he'll be my guest till about 20 of or so, and then he's got another commitment. But let's take that break, and we'll be right back. We'll count backwards so it's official.
Okay, I like that.
Starting 5. Are you guys paying attention? 4, 3, 2, 1, zip. Hey! We're at 40 Main Street, Southern Daisies, and it's under new ownership. They've been here for a while, but it's under new ownership. And if you get a chance to talk to him, he's so excited about being here. He has a lot of good ideas. He's going to get involved in the community. So we have a little citation to give you, congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
It's always a fun experience to open a new business or take one over, and so we're all happy for you.
I'm excited to be in the city of Leominster. I think that it's a great opportunity for us to bring a high-end luxury consignment, but at an affordable price range to everyone in the area. We have something for anybody depending on what your budget is or what it is you're looking for, whether it's a special event or you just want to get a nice outfit for the gym or really just your everyday wear. I'm excited to have like a small, nicely curated selection for everyone, and honestly to just chat with the people that come in every day. Everyone that comes in is so wonderful, and it's the best part of the job. So I'm excited to see everybody. We are on Instagram, Facebook, website. It's all S Daisy Consign. You can't beat it. We post new things every day. You're gonna always know what's happening, what we're getting in as soon as we get it, and oftentimes we get some unique limited edition pieces that are gone just like that. So if you follow us on the social media like S Daisies on Instagram, you won't miss it and you'll be the first to get it, hopefully. Right now, the only day we're not open is Monday, so we're here every other day of the week. We're open until 5, with the exception of Thursdays. We have a late night. We're here till 6:30. You would be surprised how often we get new with tagged pieces. Sometimes someone buys something for an event and they don't end up going, or they buy it and they think they're gonna love it and it just doesn't hang right on them. And rather than get rid of it, they bring it to the store so that it has a chance at a second life. And that's what we're here for, is to just bring things at an affordable price point to those that are looking for it, whether it's gently used or brand new.
And we're back here at Inside Leominster, 978-534-1626. Mia did a great job. And
That was Maddie.
who did it?
Maddie did.
Oh, Maddie did the
Yeah.
production work.
Yeah. Mia filmed it.
She timed it perfectly, because when she said, when he was giving out like the addresses and the hours, the camera went right to that. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. So nice job. Good teamwork, right? And yeah, Southern Daisies right downtown, 41 Main Street. And as I said, they were very excited about opening a new business, very excited about being in the downtown. And you could just see it and feel it. All right, my guest, Sheriff Lou Evangelidis, is my guest this afternoon. Welcome to the show here.
Mayor, very happy to be here.
Nice to have you. And let's start off, because I was just looking at your resume and I'm like, hey, this guy's got some credentials here, some street credibility.
Hey,
here.
we've known each other a long time, but sometimes
Lot of
you
grief
go
from
right
Temple
over the
University.
The good stuff.
I don't know, but I'm just finding it interesting, right? Graduated from UMass Amherst, practiced law for over 20 years. You were in the legislature from 2002 to 2010. That's 10 years, right? 10 years. And then assistant district attorney in Suffolk County. Mm-hmm. And then assistant state attorney in Miami-Dade County. So that gives you some pretty good flexibility there.
Hey, when I ran for sheriff, I hadn't really planned on a run for sheriff,
Right.
when I was in the legislature after practicing law for so long. But when Guy Glow decided to leave, I looked at the job and I thought, well, I do have a pretty strong criminal background and I love criminal justice. And having worked as first, when I left law school in Temple down in Philly, I figured, if you want to really become a prosecutor, go where the crime is. And you couldn't find more crime than you could in Miami-Dade County in 1987, 88. If you're old enough to remember, which you may be, Miami Vice and all the street crime, it was unbelievable.
Scott watches the repeats, right, Scott? Miami Vice?
Tail end when I was a kid.
It was a big show, but that puts a perspective on what was going on. It was a violent place with a lot of crazy things happening, but I learned a lot. I wanted to come home, so I made my way back to Boston and worked for, you may remember Newman Flanagan as the assistant, as the Suffolk DA, and I spent a few years working in the courts in Boston, and ultimately practiced law and moved my family when I had kids. We bought my grandparents' house in Holden, and I ended up back in Worcester County, and as you know, the rest of the story, more or less.
Yeah. So, sort of getting into the present world, I know that in the House of Corrections that you started long ago about realizing, in some of the earlier conversations we had a billion years ago, was these people are going to get out. This is a institution where the penalty for the crime doesn't exceed 2.5 years. So they're coming out, and we could just keep this revolving door where they leave, they come back, they leave, they come back, and that just doesn't get anybody anywhere. And so you've done wonderful things at the prison. And do you ever think to yourself about how many people went there once and that was it? Just because of the structure and the training and the education they can get.
Right.
You grow your own food, and it's really like somewhat of a what would you call it? A technical education school, almost like a trade school from the 60s and 70s.
Between the rehabilitating programs we offer and the hands-on training we offer you, it can be a place where the goal would be to have somebody go once and only once, as you know. I'll just back up a little bit. We have two populations there. So your listeners may learn a little bit just in 30 seconds or more, but you're right. Our sentenced population are 2.5 years or less. So they have one thing in common. They're getting out.
Right.
And they're coming back to every town, every community in Worcester County, or and beyond, by the way. And we also have a pretrial population I don't want to overlook, because that's
Right.
real challenge for our staff. You know, these are people who are pretrial. They can be murderers, rapists, sex offenders. They can spend several years at our facility because, you know, with the pretrial motions and delays and goes in the court, we've had people in our facility for years. I'm talking well over 5 years. So we have two populations. So if you want to focus on the sentenced inmate population, which I think we are, then my goal is to make sure that people who leave the place are less likely to come back than when they got there. And that's hard, challenging. Some people, as you know, you've been in, you know, being the longest serving mayor in the Commonwealth, you've certainly seen a lot of things in your time, but you know what I'm going to say is that if people aren't ready to change, there's nothing you can do to make it happen. But you try to find the right staff. We've hired some incredible people. And the goal is to reach out to those people who come into our care, custody, and control. Don't coddle them, but give them an opportunity. If they comply with what we have, we'll give you real opportunities, real education programs, real substance treatment programs, real education. I mean, whether it be we have RV programs, we have music programs. To learn to cope with the problems you've got. 84% of people come in with not only substance abuse problems, but now becoming more and more aware of the substance, not only substance, but the co-occurring disorder with mental health. And as you see that up here too, as we see it everywhere, we're so underprepared, ill-prepared as a society for mental health. And it's so much a part of what you see in our world of drugs, incarceration, criminal justice. It's a mental health component, it's big. So we've doubled our budget on mental health, and then even more so to give individualized counseling to people who come into our operation, because we want to try to figure out, get them stabilized. So when they get out and they come back to Leominster, they come back to my hometown, they come back to any community, they just have the tools to succeed. Because if they win, what I love about my job, Mayor, is that when I can say we win, like in other words, when somebody gets out of our facility and they don't repeat offend, they win. Their families win. Our communities win. It's wonderful to be in a job where you have an opportunity where everybody wins. Usually it's like a winner and a loser. There's no losers when people succeed in the business.
What do you think the percentage is that never return? Do you know what it is? I mean, do you have a...
You know, we keep tabs on it.
If you estimate, I mean, just a ballpark.
I give you a ballpark probably. Recidivist rate runs generally 40 to 50%.
That's pretty good.
High.
I mean, that's
well, I'll tell you why I'll give you a qualification of that a little bit.
The glass is half full, half empty, depending on how you see it.
But even 60% full, perhaps. But I think what you're asking, I'll tell you why it's a little difficult. Number one is recidivism is difficult to measure, because what if someone leaves here, goes out of state, California.
And they show up in another location.
Exactly. You might not be able to track that. So there's some things that can create a problem. Or what defines recidivism? Is someone out for 5 years before they recommit, or 10 or 12 years, or a month? I mean, you know, where do you draw the line? So that's an issue. But I will say this, Dean, the most important thing is we know what works. So we may have a recidivist rate that's too high because we're trying to drive it down to zero.
Well,
we won't.
Yeah.
But we also know that if, for example, if you're in a substance treatment program, you got a better chance to get out and not recidivate. So we have people in programs. We have dog programs. We have music programs. We have educational programs. I can tell you some of those programs we see the recidivist rate as low as 18, 22%. So if you work with us and you take advantage of the programming, your likelihood of coming back is very low.
Yeah, it's a risk management. So, you know, you have a better chance.
Some people don't, and their chances are not good. And others, I will say this also. We have people leave our place, and I know the people that work so hard up there, the corrections staff, the education staff, the substance treatment staff, they feel so good. They got somebody in the right place. We hand them over to reentry. They got housing. They got medicals. And they're back within a month. And other people, you don't have high hopes for, and you never see them again.
Setbacks sometimes. They learn the second time, and maybe you never see them again, or third time, but hopefully they don't come back at all. 978-534-1626. And, you know, it's a horrible murder in Worcester yesterday.
Unthinkable.
And people hear that, you know, they're going to close the state prison. And I think to myself, but it seems like violent crime is getting worse out there, and that was just horrible. Beautiful young lady and her daughter. And they just walked right up. I don't know if it was daytime or nighttime. I didn't catch the specifics.
It was the afternoon.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, is it really come to this?
You know, and we've already got one of the perpetrators in our facility today, and the other one's going to be coming. So, yeah, you know, I can only tell you what I've seen in my time is that COVID, we had criminal justice reform, some of which I supported, some of which I didn't. And people had ideas that we shouldn't. There's a term, you might find this amusing, I kind of do, because they change the terms every day. But suddenly I heard people talk about decarcerating. Like, what the hell's that?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, but the idea is
we're going to have them in prison, but we're going to have them in a holding facility, but it'll be outside.
Yeah,
we're not going to have them
exactly.
somewhere. They're going to check in at night or something.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
all I'm telling you is we've seen a drop in our population, but we've seen with the drop of the population, the percentage of violent offenders is higher than it's ever been.
Yeah, that was my feel. I mean, New York City, they've come to the point. They went from defunding the police to now putting the National Guard. They went from defunding the remember that?
Of course.
Defunding the police to now they got the National Guard on the railroad, and so many have left the city and said, I'm just out of here. I'm not.
So many of these policies, and I know you don't implement them here in Leominster.
Yeah.
You got a great police department. You got a great community.
Excellent.
You guys work well together. You serve the community and protect the community, and I give you great accolades for that. And there have been problems throughout the country, but I will be honest with you, Dean, I've seen it firsthand. It's like this idea of people saying we over-incarcerate and the police are the enemy and things. I don't know where they live, but if they're from this area, we have the lowest, Massachusetts has been either the lowest or in the top 3 lowest rates of incarceration of any state in the country. Our criminal justice reforms, our jails are very progressive in many ways. So the idea of this over-incarceration is crazy. And frankly, I think we under-incarcerate, if anything.
Right.
And you see these violent offenders and they're getting released and they're getting coming back. And
so one of the alleged perps was had prior gun charges, and I'm like, prior? And he didn't have a license then, and I'm thinking to myself,
exactly. How is this guy out in the streets?
How's he on the streets? I mean, this is crazy stuff. Caller, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey, it's Crystal.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Crystal. How are you today?
Good. I worked at Hannaford today.
You did what? You worked?
I worked today.
Was it busy at Hannaford today?
Slow.
I know it's kind of weird today. It was everywhere I went today was a little bit, restaurant or a stopping to get a drink at a store. Just I don't know what's going on.
The weather
Thursday.
was just, I think.
Yeah, well, the sun started to come out, but I think tomorrow you're going to see just.
You have to bring Sheriff Blue so Mark can meet him.
Yes, I will. He'll show up someday. I guarantee you.
100%.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye, Sheriff Blue. Bye.
And the thing is, I mean, the thought of jail, of this is where I live, this is where I am, and long term, like, I think to myself, I couldn't spend 5 minutes. I like freedom.
Absolutely.
And there are rules. I mean, you have to have we have a free society, but we have a lawful society, right? We have rules and laws. And if you can't comply, then you end up in somewhere until you get the message or until you do something that's so drastic they don't let you out anymore.
There are people that need to be taken off the streets. It's as simple as that.
Right.
And frankly, a lot of people are advocating for the reduction of sentencing and less policing. Sometimes those communities that they're most affected by this, I mean, they're not advocating for this. They want more police. They want the best policing possible, which we all do.
Right.
But the idea of defunding police and minimizing, the criminal justice system,
sense.
crazy.
I know that, there are situations where, like we started this thing like 35, 40 years ago, where they would have day reporting.
Right.
And you'd check in, they would check you, give you the P test and check to make sure, and you weren't out drinking or something, and it seemed to work well for those that realized, hey, listen, the judge gave me a break, and I'm going to do day reporting. I'm going to stay clean because I don't want to go to jail.
Right.
And some of those things seem to work. Some people, like you said, it doesn't work on them. Some may take who knows how long until finally, they get it. But yeah, the notion of defunding the police, that's backfired on everybody across America, defunding the police and letting people out that shouldn't be out. And I believe in giving people a chance. You got to.
I'll comment on the you mentioned the day reporting because we still do that here in Worcester County, but we do it in a really smart way, and I'll tell you how we do it. We have 3 centers, which you may know about, you may not know about, but I'm really proud of them, and I've put a lot of effort to make these outstanding centers, some of the best in the Commonwealth. One in Webster, one in Worcester, one in Fitchburg. Fitchburg serves the courts up here, Leominster, Fitchburg, Gardner. What we have is, you could call it a day reporting center. We call them community resource centers. So, but what we do is, sure, we work with probation, the judge. You come before the judge, probation. you have the potential to be sentenced. They will look at your crime. Are you nonviolent? Where you think it was maybe drug or mental health issues?
Right.
And if you don't pose a violent threat to the society, but you can benefit from programming, they will make a condition of your probation reporting daily to the Sheriff's Department. What we do is we run random drug testing on you, but we also don't just leave you at that.
Right.
We offer you the programming you need. So it'll be substance counseling, mental health services, educational program, resume writing, job skills, housing if you need it, things like that. So the idea is I don't want to have to pay as a taxpayer $60,000, $70,000 to incarcerate someone if you could put them in a home setting and we weren't endangering society.
Right.
And those people can be very successful.
Sure.
It only costs about $5,000 a year to do that. So
Right.
I'm all for it as long as it doesn't decrease the public safety at all.
Right.
And I do believe in these programs. And there are many, many people. We have graduation ceremonies. We bring the families. And you keep people intact, but you also rehabilitate them at the same
the
time.
right
And if they
situation.
violate, Mayor, they're going
You're gone.
down.
Right person, right situation at the right time. One of the things I think of often is our technology ties in everywhere. So I remember you could get arrested in another state and it would never show up here. And now everything's connected.
Right.
How hard, let's just say, somebody serves the max 2.5 years, they're in, they get out. The technology, the Corey reports, all the different ways of finding people's information. How difficult is it for somebody to get a job when they get out of jail?
Well, there's been a lot of Corey reforms on that, you know.
Right,
So
right.
I was one of the proponents. The sheriffs almost unanimously were behind that. Like, we believe in criminal justice. We also believe in sentencing. We believe that some people need to be incarcerated, but they've paid their debt to society. So
Right.
you don't want to punitively. I'll give you an example. There was a time when they passed drug laws in this country. If you were trafficking or involved in drug trade, they suspend your license for 10 years. Now, trafficking drugs has nothing to do with driving a motor vehicle.
Right.
But when someone got out of prison after 6 years or 8 years, they couldn't get a job.
Yeah,
Can't work.
Who's going to hire you?
Right, so what do they do? They go back to the criminal ways. So we proposed and we supported and got passed through the legislature some common sense criminal reforms when it came to Corey. So you look back 3 years versus 5 or 5 years instead of 10. Because people have paid their debt to society. You don't want to punish them in the sense of keep them from being employable. So you can find work. I think as a society, we've been more open to that. I've tried to show that a lot of people in our care at the jail and in our community programs are good citizens. They have turned their lives around, and I do advocate for people to get employment. And some people have told me, Dean, you appreciate this. Some have been up here in the plastics industry up in Leominster, that some of the best employees they have come through the house or come through our program because these folks know they don't get another chance.
Yeah.
And they appreciate the opportunity to make $20, $25 an hour. So I'm really proud to say I won't recommend somebody who doesn't deserve it, but if someone's complied and turned their lives around and seems sincere about it, we'll encourage people to hire those folks.
Yeah, to get out of prison and go where? And how do you pay your bills? How do you pay rent? If you don't have any family around, how do you survive? Just a couple minutes left at 978-534-1626. And Sheriff Lou Evangelidis is my guest. And we're talking a little bit about everything, not just the House of Corrections, but so enrollment, or I guess occupancy is down somewhat at the...
I'll tell you how it went. Our count, when I first got there, well, I'll even back up a little more. There was a consent decree filed before I got there with the federal government because the Worcester County Jail was sued by the federal government for basically overcrowding and violation of the rights and all that stuff. So they ended up signing a consent decree where we were not allowed to have more than 1,251 people incarcerated because we were only built for 700.
Right.
And we were double bunking and we were putting people in gymnasiums. And I'm sure you've seen that. It was crazy. So when I first got there, now 2011 through the 2020, we probably averaged about 1,000. Some nice big crazy weekends and things. We might bump up to 1,100, one time 1,200. Maybe in the 900s, but always around 1,000 to 1,100, then COVID. And as you know, the world shut down, policing kind of shut down, the courts, and I didn't appreciate that. I don't agree with the courts doing it they did, but they shut down basically, and everybody just got citations to return to court and summonses, and it really created a backlog in the courts and in our system. So our count went down to 600. during parts of COVID.
Wow.
Maybe even the 500s.
Wow.
But we are now back up. Last time I checked, we were 735. Well, so we're still low, but the only thing I want to point out is we're only built for 700. This means we can properly run the place, keep people socially distanced, which we had to do during COVID, you know?
Of course.
So our numbers generally are creeping back up, but our population is generally around right now in the 700. So we're not overcrowded. We can handle more. I don't want anybody to ever suggest to us, well, they're too full. You can't send people to jail. That's not true.
Right.
That's not true in the state of Massachusetts. As a matter of fact, as you mentioned earlier, we're talking about closing DOC facilities. It's not because people aren't committing crimes anymore, but that they're just as, perhaps these are older facilities. I also think the county sheriffs can handle more, and I think maybe the state's looking in that direction now. We have a program where we transition people from state prison. Last year, their sentencing, we have a program where you can transition them back to the county, because who's better equipped to relocate someone, to re-enter someone than the local sheriff?
You're closer to the community.
You got a guy from Worcester who commits a crime and he's serving time in Concord or whatever, and he gets released. Well, wouldn't it be better if he was coming out of the Worcester house, where we kind of have the connections in the community for housing, for medical care, for whatever you need, as opposed to a state program? So that's another aspect of it that people are looking at.
How much, or what percentage, again, just a ballpark, substance abuse plays into the people that will be sentenced to the House of Correction? High, I would assume.
Extremely high. It's over 80% have substance issues, and that can involve alcohol, drugs, whatever. But what we've noticed is, as I mentioned earlier a little bit about, there's a co-occurring disorder of mental health too.
Yeah.
And we think that number is probably close to 50% of the people coming into our facility. So you put them together, boy, if you don't get a handle on either of those, the chances of them succeeding when they get out are bad. So we've got some amazing stuff we're doing. I'll give you an example on mental health, okay? So you're in the community, you know this as mayor, I mean, you know the situation with the hospitals up here and things. But if you need mental health counseling and you're in a crisis, it's almost impossible to find. And if you do, it's very short term. And if you need medications, a doctor, prescriptions, it can be virtually impossible. And we all know that it only takes a couple days. When you're off your meds, things can go very bad. So we started one of our programs, the community centers that I mentioned, like in Worcester, for example. We have an organization that helps us run our mental health programs in the jail, and they have a doctor that's assigned to my Worcester Reentry Center. So when people get released, if they can't find a doctor, can't get treatment, they can go down, see one of our doctors in the Worcester Center, and they can get a prescription for the medications they need. So these are innovative ideas where it really helps protect us all to be safer, because you don't want people getting released and then they're on a waiting list or a month to see a doctor, and guess what happens?
Could end up back. And unless they're in danger to themselves or others, the judge is going to say, I'm sorry, but you got to go to the House of Correction.
Exactly.
What's the future of corrections in this country?
You know, it's a good question. I mean, I think it's ultimately going to lean towards what we're doing with community correction centers. I do. I think we have to have prisons always available to handle people who are violent offenders, and they should be taken off the street. And I think it's important to have a deterrent, that prison is not a place. But I'll mention one thing too. You would be shocked in a way if I tell people this. They don't believe me sometimes. They don't want to believe me, though. Prisons can be bad places. I have more people, Mayor, that will come up to me, no matter where I go in Worcester County, and tell me, you know, do you remember me? And they look me in the eye, and I can see they're sober, they're clean. They say to me, Sheriff, you know, going to your place was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Turn
because
the
they
life
got a
around.
handle on their stuff.
Of course.
So I know that the future of incarceration, if you ask me, will involve these community centers, but they have to be well-funded, and they have to be very innovative in the program. You got to stay ahead of the curve, find out what the issues are. I mean, we've got, like, you know, fentanyl out there now. This is a crazy situation. So there's a lot of moving parts in this, but I mean, I don't like the idea of paying $100,000 to throw somebody in prison unless they need to be. And I'd like the idea of community-based, but, you know, we have ankle bracelets,
of course.
GPS, we can keep an eye on people. So there's ways to do it, but the most important thing is not jeopardizing the public safety. And, you know,
when you have a threat to society, then those people have to be removed in a lawful way.
Absolutely.
Because they're just, you know, I mean, here's this, I don't know what the situation is with this guy in Worcester, but I mean, he's had other firearm charges. And these are just young guys. And
you know, it's so
such
sickening.
a heinous crime. I mean,
it's so
it's just
sickening
shocking
to hear about that, and a mother and her daughter, I think it was an 11-year-old daughter, gunned down in broad daylight in the middle of a street. Like, what kind of people are this? And as you mentioned, when they have priors, I mean, even for example, I'm sure you followed that case down in Georgia, you know, Lake and Riley, you know, She was murdered, brutally attacked and murdered by, a Venezuelan who came in here, who had been picked up by the police, who had to detain her, was not honored, and was walking around free. He'd already been arrested multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, how is this possible?
That's the system failed.
Failure.
Well, thank you for the great job that you're doing, and thanks for coming on. We'll get you on once in a while.
Man, I'll come up anytime. I want to tell you, you've been a friend to me for a long time. I admire the work you do. I think you are as good a mayor as we have in Massachusetts. We're blessed to have you. I hope you stay. I hope you're here for as long as you wish.
I guess it's my calling, like yours.
Yeah.
You'll be here. But you've done so many remarkable things. You do coat drives. I mean, there's nothing. You really go above and beyond what most sheriff's department do across the country. I mean, you really do reach out to the community, whether it's a Spanish American center or Ginny's or whatever it is.
Organic farm. We try to provide food.
All that growing greenhouses that you got.
That's right.
Just so much that's out there. And it really does give somebody an opportunity who maybe did fall into some bad luck, a chance to recover, get back on their feet, and get back into to their communities. And,
well, as I said when I first ran, and I mean it to this day, I was not sent there for business as usual.
Right.
There was a culture of patronage in politics. We all know it.
Yeah.
It was up there. It existed, and it didn't serve the people. It just served the insiders.
Well, yeah.
And I said, if I got lucky enough and the people were kind enough to elect me, matter of fact, my headquarters was set up right here in Leominster when I first ran.
Yeah.
I said, if you're kind enough to elect me, I promise I'll stick to my promises. And that was raise the hiring standards, never take a contribution from an employee or spouse. I'm the only sheriff who's never done that. I run a professional operation with a great team up there, and we care about public safety. And we've tried to do that and be a community servant at the same time. So I'm really blessed to have, like you, have an incredible team around me. Incredible.
Well, they take your ideas and run with them.
And they do. They make us
2
look
o'clock
good.
in the morning, you're like writing stuff down. Wait till they hear this in the morning. Sheriff Lou Evangelidis. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back here at Inside Leominster, 978-534-1626, and we'll be back. Are we doing? We are.
I got what's poppin'.
We're going to do what's popping. All right, we're going to find out how in touch I am with Generation Z. I got like a 60, right? I mean, I got like a C. Where's Mia? How am I doing, Mia? Would you say a C plus? I don't know.
Just thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff I just don't. It's hard. I don't have like a guide to Generation Z.
We'll find out after.
But we'll find out after the break. We'll be right back. All right, here we go. We're going to cut the ribbon. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right.
Thank you.
We have a little citation here from us, all of us in the city, and we're really happy. We hope you do well here. Anything you need from us, just a little certificate congratulating you. I know you've been open for a little while, by all the time, but I'm glad I got to walk through the door. This is a cool place. And so a little citation we have for you. So we'll take a little picture. And then if you could talk about how you ended up here, where you're from. I know you said you lived in Waltham before, and then you moved here. You live right here, right near here. And what the whole business is about.
Okay. And thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. Hi. My name is Ronnie Sandoval. We 3 owners at this store, and we opened just a few months ago. This is the Guatemala store and all Central America store, and also we have American product too. We have all desserts and all the sweet breads, the drinks, and this story started a few years ago. We decided to put a Chepe's bakery because my father started 45 years ago to make a bread. He's still making bread in Rhode Island. We have another 3 locations in Rhode Island. Yeah, and 1 in Waltham, and 1 is coming to open in a few months in Waltham too. And this dream started a few years ago, but we looking to make this a corporation. And this is, we came from Guatemala, the whole family, a few years ago, and we just moved to Leominster 3 years ago. Was living in Waltham, and but now, for any reason, we back to Waltham. We love Leominster, and we started business here. And
You open at what time? 5 in the morning?
5 in the morning. Yeah, we open at 5 in the morning, and we close at 8 p.m. 7 days a week.
And Do you have a lot of people that walk in from the neighborhood who just live in this neighborhood?
Yes, a lot of neighbors.
Because you
come
can
in.
find everything. It's like a
Yeah.
drugstore in here. There's everything.
Yeah.
That you can find.
And also we have a lot of customers coming from Worcester, Ager, and Fitchburg. Fitchburg is the strong customer we have here.
Right.
Yeah.
You got candy and there's everything. Now, what are these drinks over here? You got to explain to me. What are those?
The three the beverage drinks, horchata, jamaica, and tamarindo. But the most popular, you're not trying yet, right? Everyone try it.
I didn't try it yet.
I want to see.
There we go. Is this soup?
No. This is we call atol de lote. So if Sunday you go to Guatemala,
Yeah.
you want to find it everywhere.
You drink
Atol
it?
de lote.
Or you-
Drink it. It's hot.
It's creamy. It's a little bit sweet, but not real sweet. It's not chocolatey,
No.
but it's good. It's got a.
It's corn with cinnamon, milk, and maizena. It's all mixed.
It's good.
Yeah.
Warms your bones. Warms your bones. Yes, and we're back here at Inside Leominster, and once again, 978-534-1626. And yeah, right across from the old the nurses' quarters up there at St. Cecilia's, Catholic Charities is there, right in the corner of 4th and Water Street. And immaculate, clean. They're from Guatemala. They've been in this country for 3 or 4 years now. They have several businesses. They also are in the construction business. And it's a family business, and they work hard. I can tell you that. They work hard. They spend a lot of hours there. They get there early in the morning, get things prepared. And they have a full kitchen out back. And just because it's sort of that ethnic store, believe me, there's plenty in there. And it's since Cines is closed, right now all there is on all of French Hill is Bobo's that does a great job. But it's a great it's a great resource, and it's great to have that sort of convenience store close by. And it may look like a small store, but everything is in there. All right, are we ready?
Are we ready to do what's poppin'?
Yeah, let's do what's poppin'. Hey, what's poppin', everybody? This is Leominster TV's Residential Generation Z. Puts us together every week to find out how hip we are to the Z. How's that, Mia? Hip to the Z. All right, March 4th, twice a K-pop girl group tops the Billboard chart for the first time. Huh? Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
And they get some good music. It's kind of like, I'd say, teeny bop music.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right explanation for
Pop
it.
music.
Yeah, pop music. Kim Kardashian on May 5th to star in a thriller movie following the American Horror Story role. So she's going to be in a horror movie.
Yeah, so do you know about this? She was on this season of American Horror Story.
Yes.
And Fox liked her.
And they picked her up.
They picked her up for a movie.
How cool. March 6th, Miami introduces stricter curfews, checkpoints, and more for spring break. I guess Miami said, we've been in the spring break business for a long time. And I think the businesses at one time profited from it. But I don't think they profit from it the same way that they used to. I think it's become a nuisance for them now. So
Apparently
now
the last few years.
Yeah, so now they're like, you know what? Let's pull away from this for a little while and see what happens. And then today, Facebook, Instagram, and other media platforms suffered significant outage result. So did this happen again today?
No, they finally resolved it today because the
resolved it.
last 3 or 4
And
days.
it wasn't a hack or anything? It was just a malfunction?
It was coding.
Coding. I love it because they'll probably post something saying, your security is important to us. It's vital to us.
I think they already released that today.
Yeah. And they'll say, this is important to us. You know, privacy and your, our service to you. And I realize this may have been some inconvenience to you, but we take this very serious. So serious that Facebook doesn't have a phone number that you can call.
No, they don't.
That you can't call that. So they took it serious. Okay. Compared to the previous generations, coffee drinkers are lowest among young adults. 63% of Generation Z don't drink coffee at all, almost double the percentage of millennials at 33%. However, Generation Zers who do consume coffee are found to be twice as likely to prefer gourmet coffee over instant coffee. Consumers currently aged 18 to 24 first started drinking coffee at the average age of 15. I notice young ladies, at the high school, have a liquid hot coffee beverage in the morning. I will say, though, where's Mia? Can you talk in the microphone, Mia? Have you reached that point yet? Are you comfortable talking on the microphone? Okay. Get to the microphone. I have some questions for you, specifically. So,
She's a little bit far from the mic. But.
All right. So what about these energy drinks? I do notice that Generation Z is drinking these Red Bull and Lotus, and they're energy drinks.
A lot of gamers.
Yeah. They look like, not Kool-Aid. They look like lemonade or something like that. Am I right in that? Thirst crunches or Gatorade. They look like Gatorade with all kinds of caffeine in them, I assume.
It's carbonated Gatorade.
Am I accurate in saying that? She's shaking her head.
Yeah, thumbs up.
All right. So, but at the same time, they don't drink coffee, but coffee is good. I get it. It's somewhat of a, see, that's how corporate America tricks you to make you think that you're drinking something healthy.
Yeah.
Right? It's got no sugar added and no this and no that. Well, it's got to have something in it. It has to. All right. Let's check the stats. 72% of Americans who are 60 years old drink coffee every single day. See, I don't, but I never really drank coffee much anyway.
I do.
I do have this latte that I drank with soy milk, and it's got very little sugar in it. It's got little soy. It's good. I like it. It's the only one thing that I'll drink with coffee, or maybe a mocha, which really isn't coffee. Isn't it like just?
It's espresso.
It's espresso, but it's chocolate.
Yes.
Right? It's got sugar and chocolate, and that's why I like it. 87% of Americans have a coffee before break at lunchtime.
Before lunchtime, yeah.
Before lunchtime. Okay, that's pretty high. Jane, do you have a coffee before lunchtime every day?
Absolutely.
Do you really? Okay.
Yes.
I know some people can't get going in the morning unless they have that coffee.
Yep.
They just cannot function. Is that a mental thing? Like you think so, or do you really need that? Do people really need it?
I need it.
You need it.
I'm just tired all the time, so
Yeah.
I
That
need a little
too.
caffeine.
A little jolt. And 79% of Americans consume flavored coffee. That's interesting. So I really wonder, is it coffee you like, or is it the flavor you like?
I think it's the mix between the flavoring and the coffee.
And the coffee, like a mocha, or
Yeah.
a French vanilla regular, or a French vanilla or something, right? I see people, they get like, yeah, I'll have a coffee, 5 and 5. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, what's 5 and 5?
5 creams and 5 sugars.
5 creams and 5 sugars. I'm like, whoa. What the younger generation is drinking, accessible treat-like drinks with social media worthy, sharing packaging over difficult brewing processes, complex equipment, and specialist knowledge. So that's that. What do they call it? It's got like a filter, and they cold brews and all that stuff. Is that? Yeah.
Some of the stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And the younger generation are more inclined to buy coffee bags with cute prints, designs, and illustrations.
They do a lot of movie-themed coffees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you put a name up, right? You put a name up, and it sounds cool, and they go get the coffee. So,
Yeah.
hey, that's cool. 49% of global Generation Zers. See, now, I'm getting 100% now. I'm on a roll. 49% of global Gen Zers learn about coffee through TikTok due to creators sharing their favorite recipes or their elaborate off-menu orders at coffee chains. Like cold brew. It was really popular for a while. It's not as popular anymore, cold brew.
Now that they canned it, now that
Yeah,
you
it's
can
in a
get
can
it
now.
everywhere.
Lotus and this other stuff is in a can. All right, next slide, please. Out with the hot and in with the cold. Today's younger consumers have created a generational shift from traditional hot brews to refreshing on-the-go cold coffee. Generation Z and millennials often prefer iced coffee, blended coffees, and ready-to-drink cans with fun packaging. And I know that from being in the business, is I noticed that like it's really cold, it's snowing, and Generation Zers in there, and we sell more cold coffee than we do hot. So in early days when I worked at a supermarket, they would literally come and take all the like packaged, like Kool-Aid. Do they still sell Kool-Aid?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they used to take it off the shelf for the winter and put it away.
Really?
Yeah, Kool-Aid and anything that you mixed that was a cold drink, or they'd shrink the space because people drank hot items, but not today.
I prefer cold in the
I
winter.
know, it just took a while to get through there, right? I mean, I remember they first had those Pepsi commercials where people, or Coke, and they'd be skiing, it'd be really cold, and they have 5 feet of snow, and they pop open a Pepsi. And I'm like, but I get it. All right, next slide, please. Are you more hip than a teenager? The word of the today is drip. I'd say it's got a couple meanings, drip. I say one is not so cool. That's one word. Drip. And not so interesting. How's that?
You and I both said the same thing earlier. We were both wrong.
Refers to those who possess a distant and confident fashion sense.
Yeah.
Or anybody who radiates confidence or swag. You know who was always searching for swag? Did you watch the series? What was it called? Parks and Rec?
Yep.
Remember the kid from India that was from South Carolina? Tommy. He had swag. Did you guys watch that show?
Oh, yeah.
Parks and Rec?
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he had swag. He was always in search of swag. So drip, that's what drip means. All right. So drip is complimentary rather than a dip.
When I was growing up,
a dip.
Being a drip was a bad thing.
Yeah. Hey, you'll be able to get your tickets for the pizza crawl coming up on Monday, the 11th. You'll be able to get your pizza crawl tickets. And don't forget, at St. Anna's, they have their Lenten dinners tomorrow from 4 o'clock till 7 or till they run out. They're going to do this right up until the 22nd. And they have everything. So you don't have to necessarily get just fish. You can get things like pasta, and you can get bowl of chowder, and you can get wine there as well. And let's do our slides real quick because we only have a couple minutes left here at Inside Leominster at 978-534-1626. Let's do our pictures of the week. Hey, we went to Mrs. Wilson's second grade class at Johnny Upton School in Red, and we had a great time. They was so well behaved and so smart. They had me on my toes. I got to admit to you, Scott. They had me on my toes.
What did you read?
I read a book about a cop and his dog. And
That's
later
nice.
on,
I like that.
Later on, at the end of the story, his dog is getting more attention than him, so he kind of feels bad. But then people realize it's a team effort. The dog is canine. We signed and sealed and delivered the new FEMA appeal on its way, and a lot of work by a whole lot of people helping with that appeal. Wendy and engineers at the DPW and our private consultant and others worked so hard on that. Thank you to Critiques. They donated. They do this thing where they round off, your purchase. So if it's, $10.50, you want to round off, the extra 50 cents puts towards our heating fund. And they do that for a lot of progress. As soon as tomorrow, hopefully, it's been so wet, it's hard for them to work on it. It just turns to mud. But progress on the common is coming, and they're moving right along. I'd say tomorrow we'll be hauling out all that old concrete, and if we get a nice stretch of weather next week, it'll make a big deal. We had a primary day this past Tuesday, and thanks to everybody who come out and vote. I didn't think it would be as busy, but we had a pretty good day. It was pretty busy. This Pilgrim Church tea, they had a tea at Pilgrim Church, and the high school provided the CTEI culinary program, provided the food, and a lot of people. Everybody dressed up. It was a Roaring 20s theme, I think. And there's our ribbon cutting, and Leominster Trail Stewards working hard. Everything got washed out from not once, but twice. And by the way, Leominster got more rain last night than anybody. It poured all night, 2.7 inches of rain last night in Leominster. We scored again, I guess. And little science class at the recreation department. There are all these events are so well. Now, we are the first in the state. Nobody plants pansies before we do. And yesterday, Wendy went out and got some pansies and planted them. So there you go. We're first. For numbers, 1469 is the number of people that tested positive in 7 days, 11 in Leominster, and 12 deaths. One is too many. It's Alexandra Graham Bell Day, National Be Heard Day, National Cereal Day, National Flapjack Day. It's Sock Monkey Day. Does anybody know what Sock Monkey Day is? Well, I don't either. But I know we're out of time here at Inside Leominster. Thanks for watching. And, thanks to the whole crew for coming in and making me look at least half decent. And today, what do I get for one thumbs up for I did all right for Generation Z, being in touch with Generation Z. All-time compliment is when you get the thumbs up from Mia. That's pretty good. All right. All done here for now. We'll see you next week. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. You need to show up. Thank you.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
This is LTV.